Another 100 yards win achieved by McDonald Bailey, a #1 on his vest and #1 all the way.
Unforgettable, that's what you are.
I was born on the 8th of December 1920, in a beautiful little village called Hard Bargain in the district of Williamsville, which is deep south Trinidad. When I was about 14 or 15, the name Jesse Owens was very much in the news. Jesse Owens? Well, he was my hero. And I'd never forget. I can't remember what occasion that was. I was finished running at the time. And when I started walking around the Olympic circuit, the chap who was with me said, "Hey, look, there's Jesse Owens." I said, "Who?" Jesse Owens. I said, boy, and I went up to him. And I said, Jesse Owens, "Oh, McDonald Bailey, I always wanted to meet you." Could you imagine how flattered I was? I always wanted to meet you. And he helped me along there. And very, very, very sadly, I always got up in the morning, go up Chancellor with a friend of mine, an old friend of mine called Joseph Mitchell. He's away now, I can't remember his name. He used to live in Supiani Boulevard. And he used to come and whistle at about 5:30. "Come on, Mark, get up, go for your walk." And we did this regularly for 2 or 3 weeks before I ran any kind of race. So I was building the foundation, you see. I was building the foundation. Then gradually we'd have a progressive type of training, doing starts, doing 300 meters running at half speed, at 3/4 speed, and so on and so forth. So you're building up the foundation. And then when you get into competition, you warm up properly. Warming up is an essential part of any athlete's preparation.
But Mac's promising career was cut short with the outbreak of the war in 1939. Like many other Caribbean men and women, he joined the RAF, and after initial training in Trinidad, left for Britain.
Well, when I was in the RAF, I handed some newspaper clippings to the sports officer, and he was happy. He was good. He said, "But we have a chap called Cyril Holmes who runs the 9.8 seconds. Now, 9.8 was the record for the 100 yards in England at the time, and the paper I gave him showed that I did 9.8 in Trinidad on grass. So he was a little apprehensive, but nevertheless, he made an arrangement for me to go to run in a little place not too far from where our training camp was. And when they saw my time, I was the back marker. I had to give fellas distances like 5 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards, depending on what their clubs recorded for them, because they were not the top level people. They were just, and I, from scratch, won my first open race there, and they were very, 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 very impressed. Well, it's quite a long story, and as I say, at nearly 90 years of age, everything doesn't come back quickly.
When they were picking the Trinidad side, Mac's father told him it doesn't look like Trinidad is going to send a side. So if you can get something on the British side, by all means, run for Britain. Because Britain had done so much for him. Fellas don't know. Mac running in England profited him.
Philip Noel Baker. He is, I think he was in the Parliament, and at every big Olympic Games or anything like that, the Olympic Association in Britain would send Philip Noel Baker to sit with the Queen, and so on, and other dignitaries who naturally are there watching these games. And the Queen, had, as she has always said, the privilege of giving me 3 championship medals. She was always very proud of that. I was proud of meeting her too. And anyway, the thing to think about is a foundation. Don't think of going racing and things without a proper foundation. Building blocks must come before starting blocks.
For Britain, there could have been no better send-off to this encounter with the men of Yugoslavia than the 100 metres. It was another runaway triumph for that coloured flash, McDonald Bailey. Bailey's time of 10.2 seconds equalled the world record. Makes him the year's top sprinter.
Yugoslavia. That is where I told them in Iceland, I'm going to do it in Yugoslavia. Again, another 10.2 would be equaling the world record. Because the one in Iceland was not recognized. So it was a nice day in Yugoslavia. Big crowd, fast track, but no competition. When I said that, I said that with no disrespect to the athletes there. And I said, today I am going to either equal or break this record. And when the gun fired, I was off like a bullet. When I got to the tape, one of the judges, Harold Abraham, who used to be a famous sprinter in his day, Harold Abraham, came up to me, Mac, you've done it. So I assumed the record was done, and they had the win gauge, and I was officially now a world record holder because the win gauge proved that I did it in 10.2, you know.
McDonald Bailey, the Ebony Flash as his admirers call him, carried the hopes of all British sports fans.
I went into the Olympics in Helsinki as a hot favorite. Even the Americans conceded that I should win.
Nearest the camera is Trelaw, then it's McDonald Bailey, Smith, Remigino, McKinley and Suchere. Only a tenth of a second separated them at the finish.
And it ended up in a dead heat, the closest in the history of the Olympic Games. It was raining in Helsinki. It came over to the lane, I think that was lane 1, and drips of water fell into that lane. So when I went out and I looked under my shoes, I said, my God, no, I can't do that. Because look at the drips falling down and everything. Well, it wasn't actually raining at the actual time, but before that, the drips were there. So what I did is I quietly took my block and brought it in the middle of the lane. What do you think happened? The official tapped me on my back and said, you have to put it back in the middle of your lane. I said, but look, this is when I think the officials, the British officials could have made a protest on my behalf, you know. Everybody realized what I was trying to do. No, he made me put it back in the middle. And in the middle, I picked up all the muck. You know, and in spite of that, half a second more I would have won. That upset me. That really upset me.
When Mac left Trinidad, I used to beat Mac. And when I went to England, or before England, looking at the man who I used to beat, I knew to myself that he had improved considerably. And his improvement was due to the training that he got from the British. So he wasn't doing Trinidad any bad. He was just repaying the British people for what they had done for him.
George Lewis is an Arabian boy, very good, very fast. I don't think he's ever beaten me or ever beaten, but he was a great friend. And he supported me all the way with this nonsense about running for Britain. I was running for Britain. wasn't running for Trinidad. You know? I tell them, when they open it, if you have a passport, open it and see who your allegiance is to. The Queen of England, who felt I should be running for Britain, I should be running for Trinidad. I would have liked to ask some of them, and I think I did ask one of them. Suppose a Trinidadian had won a gold medal in 1948 at the Olympic Games. What anthem they would have played? What flag they would have raised? Nobody could answer. I said, if you had a Trinidad passport, just check in it and see what they say about your allegiance to the crown. I said, so what nonsense apart from which, Trinidad has had this reputation of can't making up their minds about doing certain things. And I wasn't going to sit back there waiting until in the end I would run for nobody. So I hurriedly decided to make myself available to run for Britain, which I was eligible to because I was a British subject.
I won a bronze medal, and I'm very proud of that bronze medal. Perhaps another time, not another Olympics, but another time I'll win a gold medal.
Mac never did win an Olympic gold, but by the time he retired from athletics in 1953, he'd earned a place in the Guinness Book of Records for holding 14 national titles.
You can't conquer Everest without oxygen, and you could use Everest to mean any big thing. The Olympic Association asked me, this is a very, very significant thing. They came to me and said, Mac, we would like you to read the second lesson. This is at St. Paul's Cathedral, one of the biggest cathedrals in the world. I said, me? They said, yes, we want you to read the lesson, the second lesson. So I went up, right up to the altar, there where the choir boys are, and all these choir boys are young school boys with lovely voices, oh, beautiful, yes. And when the time came, and the signal for me to read the second lesson, boy, I thought I would faint, but I took a deep breath, and I read the lesson. Now that is a wonderful historic achievement.
Unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.